And my paddies.
London for what?
London for medicine.
Medicine for what?
Medicine for coffee.
Are you sickness?
To our illness. Welcome to Gist Zone.
All right, my name is the Eselucien Wego One. Ona nyoko konyo.
Wannan labarin ma yana peji na 36.
Ita kuma babban labarin wannan jarida shine ainihin
labarin da ake gaban jarida shine ta bayyana cewa
ọkwaji Ikenga eziokwu
Nwanne m nwoke
Ikechukwu Ndukwe Igbo
mam iji wee mee ka ụbọchị na-aga n'anya ya
nation fún ti òwúrọ̀ yìí ibẹ̀ náà ti sọ pé àwọn ìgbìmọ̀ aláṣẹ ìpínlẹ̀ Benue pàṣẹ wípé
ní gbogbo àwọn ẹ̀ka ní ẹ̀ka ètò ẹ̀kọ́.
Good evening and thanks for joining us as we transverse the length and breadth of the nation to bring you the Nigerian story with an extra touch of details. Tonight, new rank followed by frank talk as President Buhari decorates chief of army staff. Stakeholders in the security sector demonstrate moves to terrorize terrorists. In the judiciary, we have a story of efforts to roll away the hurdles in the way of swift dispensation of justice. The blessings of nature's abundance in Benue and the tragedy of decay. Farmers lament the toll of post-harvest losses. In Kano, the farmer and water continue their long life of romance. Oh, we have these and other human angle stories. This is News Extra on the NTA. I am Fatima Marbuba. You're welcome. The Federal Executive Council has approved the medium-term expenditure framework and the fiscal strategy paper for 2020 and 2024. The document, a requirement of Fiscal Responsibility Act, projects 13.98 trillion naira as budget size for the 2022 fiscal year. Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning Zainab Ahmed announced this while briefing newsmen after the council's meeting presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari and State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
The medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper describes Nigeria's socio-economic developmental objectives and priorities for the next 3 years. The report highlights the key drivers of government revenue and spending plans towards improving the nation's macroeconomic situation and reposition the economy on the path of inclusive, diversified, and sustainable growth.
Key information is that the Nigerian economy recovered from a negative growth of minus 1.8% in 2020 to 2.5% in 2021 and then to 4.2% in 2022. Also, the inflation has moderated from a 19 months high. It's now moderated 2 months now that is coming down to 17.93%. And our foreign reserves stand at 34.2 billion at the end of May, which is a 640 million decline from the previous month.
Consequently, the key macro assumptions approved by the Council show that for the year 2022, there will be a crude oil benchmark price of $57 per barrel, a crude oil production of 1.88 million barrels per day, an exchange rate of 410 naira 15 kobo to $1 as well as an inflation rate of 13%.
What is interesting is that the non-oil GDP continues to grow at 169.69 trillion compared to oil GDP of 14.68 trillion. We have also presented to the federal government the projected revenues for the 2022 to 2024. Specifically for 2022, the revenue that we expect is 6.54 trillion, and 2.62 trillion to accrue to the Federation account and VAT pool respectively. And then that there will be a net oil and gas revenue available for the Federation account FAC for distribution. It will be 6.51 trillion in 2022. This revenue is projected to increase in 2023 to 9.15 trillion. The total expenditure we had projected and approved by Council is an aggregate expenditure of 13.98 trillion naira. This includes 1.1 trillion naira of government-owned enterprises expenditure, as well as grants and donor-funded projects in the sum of 62.24 billion. This means that this budget is just 3% higher than the 2021 budget in terms of the size of expenditure.
The minister also reported to Council a 5.62 trillion naira budget deficit projected for 2022 as against the 5.60 trillion naira in 2021. This, she explained, represents 3.05% of the estimated GDP, which is slightly above the 3% threshold specified in the Fiscal Responsibility Act.
The FRA empowers Mr. President to exceed the threshold if, in his opinion, the nation faces national security threats, and it is our opinion and FEC agreed that we can exceed it. The deficit is going to be financed by both domestic and foreign borrowing in the sum of 4.89 trillion and privatization proceeds of 90.73 billion and drawdowns from existing project-tied loans of 635 billion.
Clearly stated in the report is that the projected debt-to-revenue ratio is 43%, which the minister described as an improvement over those of the preceding years, which stood at 85% in 2020 and 58% in 2019. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And about 113 billion naira has been approved by the Federal Executive Council towards the provision of needed infrastructure projects in parts of the country for enhanced socio-economic development. This followed the consideration of several memoranda and reports presented by ministries, departments and agencies. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo again has the report.
Two of the memoranda submitted by Works and Housing Minister Babatunde Fashola includes the one seeking approval for the augmentation of the Bordeaux Boni Road and Bridge contract sum by 79.3 billion naira.
199.923 billion naira is now the total revised contract sum, and Council approved. Major highlights of the augmentation was to revise the prices, which were based on 2002 prices when it was awarded. The component of the project itself is 3 main large bridges over the Afa Creek, the Opobo Channel, and the Nanabie Creek. And then there are 10 mini bridges and about 24 kilometers of road network. And this is in Rivers State.
The council approved for the purchase of Kanti Towers, which is located at 35 Tukumba Demola Street, Victoria Island, Lagos, for the new headquarters of Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, which is NIMASA, in the sum of 17,471,005,130 naira 54 kobo, inclusive of 7.5% tax.
The council also ratified the emergency procurement on the repairs of 32 federal roads carried out in Lagos State between 2017 and 2019, worth 7.28 billion naira. On his part, the presidential media advisor, Femi Adesina, announced the council's approval of ecological fund projects for the third and fourth quarters of last year.
There are soil erosion and flood control and pollution control intervention projects. The total sum of these contracts is 16,041,101,334.79.
The projects are located in all the 6 geopolitical zones of the country.
Then there was approval for the revised estimate total cost on the contract for the construction of Damaturu, Gashua, Nguru 132 kVA double circuit transmission line for the Transmission Company of Nigeria.
During the high-level engagement, the report on the 9th meeting of the National Council on Lands, Housing and Urban Development held in Plateau State was received by the Council. The meeting had at its theme, Housing Delivery in the COVID-19 Era and Beyond. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
The judicious implementation of the 2021 supplementary budget will provide the renewed force needed to address Nigeria's security and health challenges, especially the COVID-19 scourge. This resonated on the floor of the Senate during the consideration of the 2021 supplementary budget of 982.7 billion naira. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo has that.
On the 23rd of June 2021, the Senate debated on the general principles of the 2021 supplementary budget. That same day, the bill was passed for second reading and referred to the Senate Committee on Appropriations. 2 weeks after, the Senate Committee on Appropriations has concluded work on the money bill, presented it at plenary, and the Senate has passed the bill. The amount increased by 86.8 billion as a result of some security agencies that were underfunded or not even provided for in the supplementary budget.
Like the Nigerian Navy, the Ministry of Police Affairs, Defense Intelligence Agency, Department of State Security Services, and Economic and Financial Crimes Commission.
We should continue with funding of our security agencies in 2022 appropriation bill because we have to overcome the security challenges our country faces.
Senate approved external borrowing of $6.183 billion for funding of part of the 2021 budget deficit.
It's not a new borrowing as such. It is exactly what we recommended in that budget that we are actually exercising here.
Thereaafter, higher institutions establishment bills took the center stage as the University of Maritime Studies Oron Establishment Bill, sponsored by Senator Ayo Eyakenyi, Institute of Information and Communication Technology Ogoja Establishment Bill by Senator Stephen Ode, the Psychiatric Hospital Act Amendment Bill by Senator Ibrahim Oloriegbe, and the Federal Capital Territory Customary Court Act Amendment Bill, sponsored by Senator Opayemi Bamidele, were passed. The Federal Orthopedic Hospital, Lafia Jikwara State Establishment Bill, sponsored by Senator Sadiq Umar, the Explosives Act Repeal and Reenactment Bill by Senator Umaru Tanko Almakura, and the Recovery of Premises Act Repeal and Reenactment Bill, sponsored by Senator Stephen Ode, passed second reading.
Many Nigerian communities suffer from severe pains of the bones and other related ailments due to a distance between the communities and tertiary health care institutions.
So they need to spread automatic hospitals, even if it is on a smaller scale, around the whole country.
For importers and suppliers to obtain authorization for explosives before these are sold to end users.
With this innovation, investors' confidence will be rekindled to venture into the housing sector in order to solve the housing deficit problem bedeviling our nation.
Senator Binos Yero's bill for the establishment of Federal University of Education, Newman, Adamawa State, and the Institute of Information and Communication Technology, Iwo, Osun State, by Senator Adeyemi Oloriowo, also passed second reading. Senate has adjourned plenary to Tuesday, the 13th of July, 2021, from the National Assembly. Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
In the meantime, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, has been formally decorated with his new rank. The decoration ceremony, which preceded the meeting of the Federal Executive Council, was performed by President Muhammadu Buhari. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
The decoration of the new army chief with his new rank by President Muhammadu Buhari, assisted by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, followed the confirmation of his appointment by the National Assembly. Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya was appointed Chief of Army Staff on the 27th of May this year to succeed the late Army Chief, Lieutenant General Ibrahim Attahiru. Holder of Bachelor of Arts in History and Masters in International Affairs and Diplomacy, the new Army Chief from Bodinga local government area of Sokoto State was commissioned as a lieutenant in 1990 and rose to become Major General in the Nigerian Army in the year 2017. President Muhammadu Buhari did not speak at the brief ceremony, but the Minister of Defense, Bashir Magashi, told NTA News that the new Army Chief is not unmindful of the high expectations from him.
The President has already talked to us how he wants us to operate. Like every other chief, his mandate is to bring an end to this banditry, kidnapping, and the Boko Haram issue. Nigeria will not allow this kind of nonsense to be happening. We won't take on anybody who is carrying arms, and that is the truth about it. I don't think there is anything wrong to get rid of your enemy if he wants to get rid of you. And that's what the President is saying. You cannot hold a weapon and be allowed to stay alive.
Also speaking to newsmen, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya was emphatic that everything will be done within the limits of the law to justify the trust and confidence reposed in him by the President.
I want to pledge my unalloyed loyalty on behalf of officers and men of the Nigerian Army, and also continue to do our very best to arrest these challenges we have, particularly insurgency, insecurity, and other violent crimes. We are already all getting successes. We will leverage on that, including our experience in this job, and by the grace of God, we shall get there.
But, what message do you have to the bandits and other criminal elements undermining national security and stability? The President said they will be treated in the language they understand.
That's what we have started doing already, and many of them have been sent to God to go and answer for their crimes. We'll continue to do that.
Before his appointment as Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, a highly decorated officer, was the Commander, Theater Command Headquarters, Operation Hiding Kai, fighting terrorism and insurgency in Nigeria's northeast. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And we'll say congratulations to him. Now, security is everybody's business, but for the National Security Advisor, it is a way of life. Marrying concept to actuality has necessitated a proactive development of a management doctrine by his office to respond to the exigencies of the moment. The implementation of the key component of the strategy, which requires a multi-agency collaborative approach, brought about a simulation exercise conducted in Abuja. And Calvin Urunwaye reports.
It is a drill, a multi-agency counter-terrorism response simulation at the Moshood Abiola Stadium. As terrorists shift focus to soft targets like markets, churches, and other public places, security agencies are preparing for eventualities. When a terrorist attack occurs in a crowded place like a stadium, the impact is usually huge. The panic and stampede may come with high casualties. How security agencies will respond, starting from the Control Incident Center coordination, timing, evacuation and treatment of injured persons, were practiced in an operation codenamed Idahun Konkon, meaning quick response.
You can see the response of all the MDAs here. You know, we have each one doing what they are supposed to do in line with the doctrine. It's so beautiful.
It's helped develop the medical SOP, and we've done the same for assault forces, counter IED, and K9. So those, and there are lots of other things.
Assisting the various MDAs with critical training that's going to help Nigeria in their time of crisis.
For a metro train station attacked with a chemical weapon, a response procedure was simulated at the Idu metro station in Abuja, underlining the importance of inter-agencies collaboration in counter-terrorism operations. Officials who observed the simulation are optimistic that with fine-tuning, the standard operating procedures will be ready to be replicated at local and state levels in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture. In Abuja, Kelvin Ewonwaye, NTA News.
In another development, the Northeast Governors Forum has hailed President Muhammadu Buhari and the Nigerian security agencies for the general improvement of security in the region and sued for continuous collaboration to sustain the gains. This is contained in a 10-point communique issued at the end of its meeting held in Jalingo. Joseph Zanagambo was there.
The 8-point communique raised concerns on the impact of insurgency and banditry to the socio-economic lives of the people in the Northeast region and some parts of the country. On the issue of illicit substance intake and drug abuse, the forum frowned at its impact, which fuels insurgency and other criminalities, and calls for more enforcement to stem the tide of the menace. The Governors Forum therefore commended federal government's commitment in the fight against insurgency and called for the support of the diplomatic community, partners and donor agencies. They also commended activities of the Northeast Development Commission and the good works of the Rural Electrification Agency and the need for justifiable spread of projects across the region, as well as deliberate efforts in the actualization of the Mambila Hydroelectric Power Project. The forum, which is the 5th in the series, had in attendance the governors of Adamawa, Bauchi, Borno, Gombe, Taraba and Yobe states, chaired by Governor Babagana Umara Zulum of Borno State. Abdul Malik Hassan, NTA News.
That was actually Abdul Malik Hassan's report, not that of Joseph Zanagambo. Now, the Southwest Governors Forum and federal lawmakers from the region have agreed to constitute a high-powered committee to harmonize the position of the zone on the ongoing constitutional amendment by the two houses of the National Assembly. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports that this was during an elaborate meeting of political leaders from the zone in Abuja.
The meeting, which had in attendance 6 governors from the zone and a sizable number of federal legislators, deliberated on burning issues in connection with constitutional review.
We are resolved that we will present a common position as regards amendments to Constitution. And in order to achieve this meeting has set up a committee. The committee made up of distinguished senators led by the caucus chairman and attorneys of the Southwest state. The committee is to harmonize our position so that we can present it as and when necessary before the two houses, and at the end of the day have the constitutional amendment have a serious input as we take it.
The meeting also discussed the passage of the Petroleum Industry Bill and other national issues crucial to the development of the region. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
And an end appears to be in sight for the travels of Nigerians during business in Ghana. Head of the legislature of Ghana and Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, was at the House of Representatives. His address to the Nigerian lawmakers dwelled on the shared history of both countries and the Ghanaian Act of Parliament on trade, which has become a bitter pill. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
For several decades, Nigerians have been engaged in different trading activities in Ghana and vice versa. But the full implementation of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center Act became a major challenge for Nigerians doing business in that country. The new law imposed $1 million registration fee on foreign traders. The Speaker of the Ghanaian Parliament, while addressing Nigeria's House of Representatives, described the said law as an impasse as it led to the closure of shops belonging to foreigners. This visit by the Ghanaian delegation is a determination of commitment to address the concerns of Nigerians.
I am here just to help bring finality to the impasse. I pledge my commitment and that of the Parliament of Ghana to contribute in every way possible to end the impasse between traders of our two sister countries.
House Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila said parliamentary diplomacy is of essence.
Here in furtherance of securing the relationship and the bond between the two companies through Parliament.
In the meantime, the House during plenary Wednesday considered and adopted the report of the House Committee on Appropriations on the 2021 supplementary budget and the budget of the Nigeria Police Trust Fund from House Committee on Police Affairs. Other features at plenary was the second reading of 3 bills, including the bill to amend the Electric Power Sector Reform Act, which seeks reservation of 5% of revenue of power-generating companies for host communities.
For the development of their host communities. If this is granted, Mr. Speaker, the host communities will also enjoy what the oil communities will be enjoying as contained in the PIB.
The House has urged authorities to take measures towards preventing the spread of cholera in parts of Kano State.
Direct the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and National Primary Healthcare Development Agency to immediately mobilize their manpower and resources to the affected communities.
From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Time for us to take a short break now. When we return, giving the gravel more grease. Correspondent on solution to delay the dispensation of justice. And good news from the High Court for a former minister. Plus, the Igara Road Project. What is bumpy or what is smooth in the project that has generated many comments? Please stay with us.
Pension fund administrator, we soft, make sense, we care for me, shy. No be the time when story go enter the matter when it's time to deliver. Oh no, 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 no. The brand is sure them no go stress you. Call them then they accessible. Yes, customer care where they on point. No go regret when you try, of course. Profitable investment, everything is just a blend. If you know what's good for you, my guy, make you choose premium pension today. Make that switch to premium pension. Premium pension. Make that switch to premium pension.
Join over 700,000 satisfied members and enjoy the premium experience at our offices across the 36 states in Nigeria, including the FCT. Call 094615-700-704 to make the switch today. Premium pension. Active today, premium tomorrow.
Enjoy faster connectivity and amazing discounts in the Airtel HBB seasonal offer. Get a MiFi for 9,999 Naira plus up to 55 GB data, or a router for 19,999 Naira plus up to 160 GB data. Offer valid while stock lasts. More data, more you. Reliable home broadband by
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Hands, whether they belong to the young or old, Christian, or Muslim, no matter who you are, your hands are powerful. To stop the spread of COVID-19. H. Have your hands washed or sanitized frequently. A. Always cough or sneeze into your elbow. N. No going out without a face mask. D. Distance of at least 2 arms length should be maintained. S. Stay indoors and self-isolate if you feel sick. Hands.
The National Pension Commission (PENCOM) is pleased to inform all its stakeholders, particularly retirees of Treasury-funded federal ministries, departments and agencies (MDAs), that His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, has approved payment of some outstanding pension liabilities of the federal government under the Contributory Pension Scheme. Specifically, the President has approved payment of outstanding accrued pension rights for verified and enrolled retirees of Treasury-funded MDAs that are yet to be paid their retirement benefits, as well as the backlog of death benefit claims due to beneficiaries of deceased employees of Treasury-funded MDAs. Payment of 2.5% differential in the rate of employer pension contribution for federal government retirees and employees, which resulted from the increase in the minimum pension contribution for employers from 7.5% to 10%. Payment would take effect from July 2014. The board and management of PENCOM appreciates His Excellency, Mr. President. Announcer, the board and management of National Pension Commission, PENCOM.
I am with you at every stage of your life, providing comfort when you are keeping fit, comfort when you are expecting your bundle of joy, comfort during motherhood, comfort in your office, comfort in your car, comfort when sharing a meal, comfort at bedtime. From cradle to grey, there's comfort for you with Vitafoam. Quality is vital. Quality is Vitafoam. Vitafoam, the fine art of living.
Please keep an eye on Jenny.
Oh, that's all right.
Uncle Paul, look! I want to be a pilot when I grow up.
That's good. I've always wanted to be friends with a pilot.
Uncle Paul, what's your job?
I help people understand things.
Like a teacher?
Almost. I help explain to mummies and daddies what they can do with their money. I help people build stuff. And I'm always there when they are happy and when they are sad. I help people grow all kinds of things.
You're a farmer!
Not quite. I help people keep and grow their money so later they come back when it's bigger for themselves.
You're a magician!
Just like a pilot, I help people move from where they are to where they want to be.
Thank you, Uncle Paul.
Pilot.
ARM. Invested in your tomorrow.
Oga Greg, you want to buy cough medicine again? Why haven't you gone for a test like I advised?
Test? So that the hospital people will say I have COVID-19? No.
How about Oga Greg? Not all coughs mean you have COVID-19. COVID-19 cough and symptoms are different from other illnesses like tuberculosis.
Solomon, why don't you ever stay at your post? Why?
This your cough. You need to check Amo. When I had a bad cough, Madam told me to go for tuberculosis test. After the cough syrups didn't work, they discovered I had tuberculosis. After the free test, I was even treated for free. Now I'm fine.
Solomon is right. Oga Greg, take Amo. Make you dey sure. Because who no go?
No go, no.
Check that cough for tuberculosis.
Check Amo, make you dey sure.
If your cough is more than 2 weeks, it could be tuberculosis. TB tests and TB treatment are free. Just call the National TB Hotline on 3340 for information on where to get the test. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Health with support from the American people.
Thanks so much for staying with us. An advocacy on the amendment of the Constitution for the establishment of special courts to take care of electoral matters is underway. Some legal practitioners who are leading the advocacy are of the view that this will assist in the country's quest for quick dispensation of justice. Dele Atumbi of our judiciary desk has more.
The axiom that says justice delayed is justice denied is prompting concerned legal practitioners to advocate the creation of special courts to adjudicate on electoral matters in the ongoing fifth alteration of the Constitution. The legal practitioners are of the opinion that the removal of electoral matters from the regular courts list will give the courts the opportunity to concentrate on both civil and criminal matters. They assert that electoral matters alone, from its pre-election to complete adjudication, take up to 2 years. This development, the legal practitioners say, delays adjudication on other civil and criminal matters.
So what we have is that for about a period of 1.5 years to 2 years, in the electoral cycle of 4 years, the courts are burdened with determining electoral cases.
Election matters are sui generis. If they are sui generis to the fact they are, then they should be done in their own way, in a peculiar manner, wherein there are justices with space, with pace, Those days one day will stay in for 4 years and his case is still ongoing. But now we are sure if we want 180 days, it will determine.
They also canvassed the enforcement of timelines for the determination of matters at all levels of courts.
We have to amend the constitution to create special courts for electoral cases.
But the problem we have is not this issue of spelling out this court or that court or this or that day. Lawyers themselves sometimes are not ready to take this challenging bull by the horn.
They see the establishment of electoral high courts, electoral appeals court, and electoral Supreme Court as a solution to delay in the attainment of quick dispensation of justice in Nigeria. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
Let's take you to Lagos now, where the Lagos State Judicial Panel of Inquiry on restitution of victims of SARS and other police human rights violations still has pending cases, despite a 3-month extension of its initial timeline. So far, the process has administered justice to some petitioners, with others still trying to prove police actions were unfair to them. Jennifer Igwe has an update.
To address the many cases of alleged police brutality, the Lagos State Judicial Panel on Restitution for Victims of SARS-related abuses and other matters was created. 200 petitions were submitted. So far, one by one, 113 have been heard.
Unload 3 dead bodies in an Elot bus.
Proven cases was and is still pertinent. So although some petitioners had touchy stories, under cross-examinations by legal counsels, they were left hanging. Some petitioners backed down and withdrew their cases because series of events had overtaken their matters, while a few others were struck out by the panel because of unseriousness and lack of due process. Those who have successfully proved their cases have received financial compensations and apologies.
There's a case of, I think like 2-3 persons received 10 million involving cases of death. There was one 7.5 million. There was another 5 million, then a million, 750,000, 500,000. The panel has also been very open, transparent.
Actually, there are people who have justiciable matters, and there are people who also feel that this matter, they are just coming here just because the panel is set up and they just felt that, let me try our luck.
The judicial panel is still ongoing. On this day, for instance, 8 cases were heard. 1 was struck out, 1 adjourned sine die, and 6 others were scheduled for adoption of final written addresses for 16th and 13th of July 2021. The panel started its sitting and it was to end May 2021, but had 3 months extension. Now, 19th of July is the expected end of the 3 months extension. Will there be another? Now that's something we'll have to find out. In Lagos, Jennifer Igwe, NTA News.
Thank you, Jennifer. Now, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has ruled that former Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, was ineligible for national service as at the time of her graduation. The court, presided over by Justice Taiwo, ruled that the ministerial appointment of Kemi Adeosun was not illegal, neither was it unconstitutional, even without presenting the NYSC certificate. The court maintained that Adeosun was not supposed to present herself for National Youth Service because under the 1979 Constitution, which was in force at the time of her graduation, she was not a Nigerian citizen, either at the time of her graduation or when she turned 30. The Federal High Court asserted that the Constitution did not require her to present her first-degree certificate or any other certificate, including the NYSC certificate, to be appointed a minister. The court said since the 1979 Constitution, which was in force at the time, did not recognize dual citizenship. Adeosun could not have served because she was a British citizen. Adeosun graduated from the University of East London in 1989 at the age of 22. The court ruled that Nigeria's citizenship only reverted on the extant constitution, by which time Adeosun was well above 30, and by the court ruling ineligible to participate in NYSC scheme, as the scheme is exclusively reserved for Nigeria. In the meantime, the need for citizens to take ownership of government projects cited in their areas and speak out when things are not done properly is one of the virtues that will compel leaders to be accountable. This played out in Igara, Akuru, Edo local government area of Edo State, where the video of a young man crying out loud over a poor road construction in his community went viral. Victor Odion Acha took a trip to Igara town to verify this claim and came back with his findings.
On Sunday, the 4th of July 2021, a video of a young man identified as Alabala Wani drawing attention to the poor handling of a road project attracted to the area by the Deputy Leader of House of Representatives, Peter Akpatasi, went viral as many Nigerians condemned the contractor of the project. This NTA took up and visited the community to ascertain the reality on ground. Arriving in Igara, the headquarters of Akukwedo local government area, none of the workers nor construction equipment were on the site, but associates of the lawmaker who attracted the project to the area were seen inspecting the job. It was observed that the drainage work does not have rods for reinforcement with a poor flooring. I hit the walls of the drainage, which shows a poor quality of job. The entire road does not have stone base before asphalting was carried out, as parts of the work done few days ago have already failed.
Well, I don't know the contractor, but the man, our reps, who attracted this project down here meant well.
At the very initial time, I always let them know that this place is a road that is permanent, and any work they want to do here, it should be a work that will promote their work tomorrow.
When they were working on it, the weather was not favorable. So on that note, they have marked it out for resurfacing.
The video maker Alabala Wani, who is an architect, insists that the best is what they desire.
As a contractor, there are some, brief that will be given to you and you reject it to save your image. I want people to follow standard.
Responding in a telephone call, the supervisor of the company, Royal Jeff Nigeria Limited, said the specification of the job is 1.3 kilometers with 300 meters to be asphalted and 200 meters drain system in the first phase, saying that the bill of engineering measurements and evaluation for the project does not carry reinforcement. Hence, he made the drainage a V-shape, added that the asphalt failed as a result of the rain that fell while construction was on.
Yes, sir. The BOQ does not carry reinforcement, and that is, it doesn't carry any iron.
The facilitator and deputy leader of the House of Representatives, Peter Akpatasi, has already written to the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, the agency that awarded the project, to investigate the allegations. In reaction to this development, the Edo State government has visited the site where the Deputy Governor, Philip Shuaibu, announced the immediate takeover of the project by the Edo State government and also ordered that the sponsor of the project and the contractor handling it be investigated.
I've revoked this job. The MD of C4 is here. He's going to take this job, this road over, and Edo State government will reconstruct this road immediately. We are the one that have set a standard for ourselves. And any federal agency or any constituency project that does not meet our standard will not be accepted in Edo State.
Meanwhile, operatives of the EFCC and ICPC have visited the project sites for their investigations. In Igara, I am Victor Odion Acha, NTA News.
Thank you, Victor. Now, the stability of internal party structure is the cornerstone for sustainable democratic growth and subsequent maturity through a process that is liberal and inclusive. This defines stakeholders' perception on the integral role internal party democracy plays in strengthening democratic leadership during NTA program Tuesday Live. Abakar Usman Akwanga reports.
The world over, internal party democracy largely contributes to the survival of any democratic system, with priority to citizens' participation and inclusive political culture for party members.
Anybody who is willing to contest, as long as you have fulfilled all the righteousness to contest, you should be allowed. And that is the beginning of the democracy. Even when the parties, that's why I always say, you know, Mr. President, honestly, no matter what anybody says, he has been proponent of, look, let the people decide. Give the people of the country the honor and dignity in choosing who their leaders will be.
Stakeholders argued that the lack of these tenets could undermine the strength and credibility of any political system, and called on political parties and other key players to imbibe the universal values.
The members of a political party should have a say in the selection of their leaders and in the selection of candidates for elective offices. And that the will of a few or the leaders or the oligarchies within the party should not prevail over and above that of the members.
When there was insurrection in the U.S., you remember what Hillary said when she lent her support to dealing with those people? She said democracy is fragile. That is the first time I'm hearing it. It's fragile because it's built on tight-knit checks and balances.